Hello. Well, we've just finished recording the weekly catch-up number 6. It's Wednesday, the 25th of May. But for those of you who haven't got much time, here's a quick version of the show. And now, for those who've got a little bit more time, here's the show at normal speed. Hope you enjoy. Well, hello everyone. Well, a little bit late start this week. Blab would not let me in. But anyway, we're here for this week, the weekly catch-up, number 6. And hopefully our co-host is still waiting in the wings, Jeffrey K. Holbrook. I'm saying it with anticipation, just in case I never see him. Oh, there he is. It says show call, so he is there. So let's see what happens this time. I'm going to press a magic button and see, does it work? Fingers crossed. Here we go.
Hey, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Very, very much.
Goodness me. So we started the show at 10 to 8, I did. Started trying to come. It's 20 past 8 now, so 30 minutes of trying to get in to my own show.
Well, what can I say? I was in the process of tweeting what really happened. I had 3 retweets, and then it took us 20 minutes to get in. I mean, three people retweeted what hey, we're getting started, and then 20 minutes later.
Yeah, and
oh well.
And funnily enough, I shut down my browser, and because I was the host, I'd lost it altogether. But luckily, you was still in it, waiting in the background. Yeah. So I clicked on the link, and it started it up again. So I was still able to get back in, because I couldn't find the show again. So I thought I was going to have to start another one.
Oh, I see.
But it does that to me sometimes. I still don't understand why.
Yeah, it's being beta and all. Remember we were talking about that actually show number 3 just kind of disappeared. Well, I was listening to a podcast on it. It was Dave Jackson's talk to ask the podcast coach. It happens on Saturday mornings here on Blab. Anyway, they said that a lot of people that just occasionally one of the blabs will not come to them after it's over with, and all you have to do is to get in touch with them with the help people here at Blab, and they'll just reprocess it with you. It just kind of gets lost in processing. They'll reprocess it and you can get it back. Now, again, I don't know how long later you can get it, but it may still be hanging out there available somewhere.
Well, I did see your email from that, and I've sent them an email, hopefully see if they can do that. But
yeah, we'll see.
Like you say, if it was like all these things, I'm sure everybody's keeping everything that's been said on Blab, even when it's not on the record. So yeah. I'm sure there's some huge server somewhere keeping all this information. But I was just seeing, if there was an email back from Blab saying, because I get so many Blab emails these days from anybody who's going online or doing that, it gets lost in the thing. But I can't see anyone back there, because I did ask them last night, but they've probably got thousands and thousands of emails. So I wouldn't expect them to get. I haven't got a response yet, but I have put that in because that would be great if we can fill that missing gap.
Well, I was talking about people are always listening. As a friend of mine at work has a shirt that says, "The NSA, just when you thought your government wasn't listening to you."
Yeah. Well, I just console myself with the fact that people are listening to everything and every watching and listening to everything you do, so you can't worry anymore, can you?
No, exactly.
I think a lot of the people who worry about it are just worrying they're doing the wrong thing anyway. They shouldn't. And the thing is, if you want this connectivity in this world with the internet and things like Blab and all, you know, people are going to record things. You're going to be repeated recorded something, somebody's going to see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way you can stop all that from happening and bad things happening is just go dark and just switch off.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be pretty boring, though, wouldn't it?
Well, if you're going to be on here and you have something you're going to say, if you're going to be a podcaster or a video caster or whatever you're going to do, just don't say anything bad. Just say what you think. Get on with your life and then live with it. Don't say anything libelous, and it shouldn't be too bad.
Well, my fault. The thing is I'll tend to say anything that I would say to that person, or if I wouldn't say, now, listen here, Jeff, have you heard about this? And if you was a bit worried about saying it, my rule is if you would cringe if it was on the National 9 News or the news on the at tea time, well, don't say it. Or if your grandmother would turn in a grave if she heard you say that, well, don't say it. It's not for public consumption. So,
no, I agree. On the old Disney cartoon Bambi, Thumper, the little rabbit, his thing was,
yes.
If you said, Thumper, what did your father tell you? He says, well, if you can't say nothing nice, then don't say nothing. That's it. Just don't, So,
and that's what I do, because sometimes you could have an opinion, a negative thing, but you never know all the facts, and you can always make such a fool of yourself. So you can say good things, that's fine. But if you disagree, well, that's fine. Just leave it at that. But there's so many people have jumped up on the high horse about certain things, and then you see the next day, oh, oops, I was totally wrong.
Yeah, well, but you're on the record, so there you go. So
that's right.
So what have you been teching around about this week?
Well, I don't know. You can't see here, but at the moment, I've got my brand new piece of equipment.
Ooh,
here that's cost me all of $9.95. My stand for the microphone.
Okay,
to get away from. So the mic's out of shot. You can't see it in the shot there, but that's the stand from Alibaba, just for $9.95. I thought that was fairly good.
Well, very cool.
And then I'll kick the other one out.
So do you have any shock mounting or anything on that, or?
Well, that's got the shock mount here. Yes, that's got the shock mount on there. And also another extremely expensive purchase with some clips for the greens.
All right. No, yeah. Those are very handy.
Half a dozen of them for outrageous price of $1.99 for 6.
Well, those also make good. Those also make a good clip that you can roll down a potato chip bag and clip it too.
And there was something else. There was another thing I got, but I want to do a video on it. And the reason why I want to do a video on it, because if I open it without doing the video, I might never be able to get it back in the thing. So I want to film it. So I've got there's a green screen in here.
Oh, cool.
And I want to film me opening it, because I know the last time Rick and I opened something like that, it took us 3 hours to get it back into the case again. Because they said, no, it's just you just go like that and roll it up and it goes straight back in there. And of course, we had to get a video of a 6-year-old showing us how to do it. It was this huge 6-foot thing, and then this little 6-year-old, you just do it like that and fold it in. So we thought we got shamed into doing it correctly.
Oh, of course.
But that's another thing. So hopefully that will be like, it's a green screen, but a smaller one, but still a 6 foot by 4 foot. So maybe I can do it upstairs and don't have to be down here. So I might give that a try, because I've got my green screen here, but as you see, it is quite a wide. You see my arm disappears there, but it is quite a wide green screen on there. So it does take up quite a bit of room in here, whereas I want to get the other one so I don't have to have use such. So like where you were, it would probably just cover the back of you, this one I've just got. So
oh, wow.
It would be a good thing to have. So that's what one of the things I've been messing about with. And that was the annoying thing with just the Blab where we couldn't get in first, was because what I do the night before, I always set up the equipment, record, test, log into Blab, make sure everything's working. So if I've left anything off, if I've knocked the lights or moved the camera, or it's not working when the show's about to start. Well, I know about that the night before, and I did a few different recordings, and I even went in on the other screen with Final Cut and was even just testing. See, I'll show you this. See, you can see I was even doing that. Let's see if I can show. See, there's me testing. There's me testing the thing last night. So, see there. So, hello everyone. Well, this is just a second test for the Blab setup for tomorrow night. I did have the recording settings a little bit wrong, so I was a little bit big on the screen. Anyway, see, so you could see I was doing that, so and messing around on that. So, see, so that was me messing around last night. Just
and then
setup done.
And then all that work, and then all of a sudden you just come up to it and there wasn't anything going on.
No, and I saw in that brief section when I got in and you couldn't hear me that you said that, like you said, you've got some hair there because you got rid of the headphones as well.
Yeah, it's like these are what I've been wearing, and I just decided to try something different. All of the I never had gotten around to buying any earbud type things. All of them had such short cords on them, I guess, with their personal things, that it was too long from where, because these have probably got a 10-foot cord on them, and so the rest of them around here just have like about a 3-foot cord or so on them. And then I got to looking in my little box that I keep down here of all kinds of connectors and little cords and things like that. And lo and behold, a 20-foot, 1/8-inch extension for just such things. So anyway, I didn't need 20 feet, but here it is. And it's all kind of piled up over here. And so I'm plugged in, and you can see that little bit of hair I got left.
But I know even in the days in retail, and there used to be like when Radio Shack was about. I don't know if it's still there, but you could go in there. Not many. Well, they've totally gone here. They've all disappeared here. But you could go into there or a similar sort of stores and get a little earphone for the radio with about 20-foot, 20-meter cable for about $2.
Wow!
I mean, that would still be that would still be ideal now. Just a little, because you don't need a lot. You just need to hear the sound. It doesn't have to be stereo or high quality, but that'd be great. But now, as you said, you can find tons of those earphones. But you said they're about 3 foot long, and you have to be like this all the time because you can't keep. And that's why I like these ones, because this one was the first one that had a decent, from here all the way can go down the back, and then under my arm and to the mixer there. So it's got quite a lot of room, but without, like you said, 20 meters. But it's not 20 meters. But if it had too much, like I've got a separate microphone there that I'd had that's got 20 meters worth of cable, but that's nearly unmanageable because it's just sometimes to be a wee bit too long then.
Yeah, well, what I did with that was drape it over the other side of the bookcase that my stand here is on, and so it's just kind of all on that side. And then I used a piece of tape to tape the length that I wanted to plug into, and it's just taped onto the bookcase, and now I've got this lead coming out about so long, and then I plugged the headphones into that, and here we are. So,
because it does, I think it is much better than having to have the headphones on for that. The headphones are really good because those are the ones I have. It's the AKG, and they're really good and comfortable when you are doing a bit of recording and you want to listen to the quality. But I hardly notice that they're on. You can wear them for hours and you forget that you've got them on sometimes. So.
Yeah, like I say, they're much more accurate. It's taken them a little while to get used to the idea that this is made for listening to music, and they try to base it up a little bit inside of these, I guess. I don't know. So they're not as accurate as what I'm used to, but I can hear plenty about what's going on. It also lets sound from the outside of the room come in too. More
and that's
what I'm used to.
And I find with these ones as well, they tend to, as you said, they give you the sound, but these ones are a little bit tinny. And when you listen to the recording and you keep thinking, oh, gee, I've got to adjust the sound, but you can't. You put your big headphones on to do a sound check because these are only small, but they're just not doing a great deal of sound. But these ones as well, incredible. They nearly block everything from the outside.
Oh, really?
The only thing is, after we've spent an hour on there, then I open. It feels really strange when you take them off, then, because you've been hiding from the real world apart from here. And in that time when I wasn't getting on, the dog was snoring extremely loudly, and I said, "Shut up!" I'm trying to say, "Be quiet." I kept waking him up because I thought, just as well they can't hear us at the moment. So he stopped snoring now. So
that sounds good.
So that was one good thing. Good thing anyway.
Well, the birds that you heard chirping outside my window last week, I don't think are doing it so badly today. They were just on the tree. I mean, if I could open the window, I could just touch the trees right here. There, because I'm on the second floor, but the trees, they're not doing it this morning. So I don't know why they're not excited like they were last week.
No target practice. No target practice.
No. I don't have to worry about that. I'm a nice guy.
But it didn't matter. It made it, just a little bit of difference to the show. The little bit tweet.
Yeah, well,
going on, that didn't make too much difference. So.
Yeah, well, they're just reminding everybody subliminally to tweet about our show.
Well, that's tweet. That's right. Tweet. I don't know if you noticed when you looked at my final cut, but the final cut, what it is, I've just already set it up ready to put today's show in there. That's what that was there. I recorded a little bit last night, but it's already set up to put today's show on there. So perfect. Did you like the 40-minute mark of show one where the music came in, the scary music?
No, that's hilarious on the video portion of it. That's just really great. On the audio, I won't be able to do it because they'll just hear the music and they won't know what's going on. I'll have to edit that section out. But I mean, unless I want to say, I can actually dub something in like, what is he thinking about? What is actually happening? He's trying to find out whether Jeff is going to come back. Yeah.
It just worked so well because just the look on your face.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Where's he gone?
No, that was hilarious. That's perfect for the video. That's what's so funny. I really like how you have all the tools, all the video tools and all the software and the hardware and different things going on. And again, I've just been audio, but you really are making that look good. You've got the music on both ends. You've got the whole and the music works really well for the audio too, because I just now finished editing just a little while ago, right before I come on here. The first one, I just went through it and listened to the whole thing. Had to cut out a section where there's some quiet stuff and we were listening to something and we couldn't hear it over the thing. But it's a different edit for audio. But you had the music on both ends. The levels were perfect. I mean, it's great. I mean, I just took Sony SoundForge and loaded the video into it, and then just said that there's a thing in the first dialogue off the file that says detach video, and then you save it as a WAV file, and you have a full WAV file of the audio of that video. And so, really simple.
I was almost tempted in one of them to say, and here's a version for those of you who don't have enough time and just do the whole show, speed it up that much and do it in about 30 seconds. I was nearly going to. And here's, for those of you who haven't got much time, here's the quick version.
I'm just talking so fast. I wonder if you could hear our different accents on the faster version. If you could tell who was
probably not. I don't know about you, but what I did once, there was I listened to a lot of podcasts, and one day I was just thinking, God, I wish these people would slow down. They always speak so damn fast. And then I just realized, I didn't realize after all the ones I'd watched, there's a button on there that you can click to say 3 times the speed, but it doesn't change the pitch.
Right.
And they just go, now I'm just thinking about going, and it just seems extremely loud. And I thought, gee, I wish it'd just slow down a bit. It just seems, but it just sounded so normal. I thought, oh goodness, they're speaking so fast. And then stupid me realized, there's 1, 2, and 3 times, so you can actually listen to it, but do it 3 times as quick. So
yeah, if you want to. I still listen to everything I listen to, and I at normal speed. And I know a lot of people will speed them up in order to to do that. But the thing is, the nuances of what they're saying and the way they pause and things like that. Then there was a podcast I listened to, and I found it annoying me. I loved what the subject was about. It was a good production value, but what they'd done was truncated silence between every phrase, so there was exactly the same amount of time between every phrase. And so, I mean, it was so even that I found it annoying. Like, because there's a pause for emphasis. It's kind of like, well, and then she said, and then you do the pause. Well, it was just exactly the same amount of space between each phrase. And and it really got annoying after a while, because it was, some of the stuff really felt rushed. They would start talking before you expected them to, and they made it really short too. And it probably cut 10 minutes off the podcast, because of how much space they had cut out of it. And you can just cut the silences out and just do it automated through the whole thing. And it shortens it. And I guess that's good for bandwidth, but I found it annoying to listen to.
But that's the thing is with audio recording, if there is a bout of silence, there's usually a reason for it. And if you cut that out, you will, even if it's a 10 seconds bit of silence, but that might be to make the point of what the person is saying. And if you cut that out, it just sounds like, I know I've done myself when you do some recording. You can hear everything, but if you don't leave enough gap, it just doesn't sound genuine enough.
Right. I ended up cutting in the first one. I ended up cutting the silence out. I mean, I cut out, it wasn't silence, but it was when you were playing a couple of things and we were just sitting there going, okay. Yeah, well, I cut that section out. That was, a few minutes there. But then when you were demonstrating the mute button on your new microphone, I left that in. Because that was part of, that was part of the audio, was the silence was part of the audio. So it just made sense to leave that in whenever I was going through there.
I thought of filling in those gaps on the earlier ones, but I thought I better not, because they only didn't record it because of copyright issues. So I thought if I put it on, I'll probably be in trouble anyway. if I inserted what was there, because I remember what the things we was watching, but we didn't realize that when you do drop something in there, nobody sees it. Only the live stream sees it, and me and you, don't we? No, we won't record. And we didn't know till we experimented, and then there we are. What I'm doing this week, what I'm doing is, right now I haven't had a working podcast just for the last little bit. I have an original podcast that I put out 50 episodes of, called Daggers of the Mind, and I just noticed that there was a lot of interest in the podcast, a lot more than I'd had. And I was trying to figure out where the interest was coming from. And of course I just have it on in a holding pattern on Libsyn, so I'm not getting advanced stats. And then I went over and looked at the streaming service called TuneIn. And they were like, I was always told, well, get on there, but you're not going to get much out of that as a podcaster. Well, there were like 2 people subscribed whenever last time I looked at it a few months ago, and I went and looked the other day, and there's like 28 people subscribed. And I'm thinking, that's good, isn't it? Okay. And I'm as soon as I up the stats or up the package I've got, because I'll have to do that in order to put these shows on here, because I've been putting a lot of short form stuff. These are more than an hour, so I'll definitely have to up my plan. But then I'll be able to see if that's definitely exactly where it's coming from. But then I found out the other podcast we'd been doing was having similar spikes. There might be 40 in one day that listen to it. Like, so, or somebody listen, like the other show, 50 episodes, people will do 40 some. That'll happen several times a month. I guess somebody just, notices it, and then they just download the whole back catalog, I guess, is what I'm thinking is happening. But anyway, there's like 28 people on there, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll have to look at that. Well, what I'm going to do, that feed is also on Spotify. Okay. So what I'm going to do is to take the old feed, just leave it the way it is, but change the show art, change the name, and just use it as the Holbrook New Media audio feed. And because podcasting, if you want to make money in podcasting or get popular in podcasting, it's all about the niche or the niche, however you pronounce it.
that you're in. This is not just about baseball. This is about baseball pitchers that are below 6 foot tall. I mean, so what I mean? So you have this really, really detailed niche thing that you're talking about. And they say, if it's all general and you're releasing different types of stuff, that you're not going to, get popular or make money. Well, the things I want to do, I like doing interviews occasionally. I mean, but not weekly. I don't have time for that where I'm working. I like writing essays based on celebrity and historical quotes. I enjoy writing, so I'll record that and put that on there. Well, there's probably about 10 different podcasts I would have to do sporadically just to do the things that I really am interested in doing with audio. I'm just, forget it. So, and you can't make money if you only put one out every 2 months. And again, I'm not worried about it. So if I'm not making money off of this, everybody thinks if you have a podcast, you're supposed to be making money. It doesn't work for about 90% of the people or so. If you're already famous, you're a celebrity. If you're a huge blogger before you get into it, then you will be pretty popular out of the gate. But what I'm going to do is just have this one podcasting feed coming based on the website. I'm going to put the weekly catch-up show with Jeff and Jeffrey on it. I'm going to put my essays on it. I'm going to put when I do some voiceover stuff, like I'm going to put the poetry thing whenever they show up. As long as I keep it completely intact, I can put that on there just as a feature. And so it's just going to be the Holbrook New Media audio feed, and whatever I decide I want to put on there, anytime I'm just going to put it on there. So I'm not trying to get rich. I'm not trying to replace the income I have, because I'll be retiring here in a few years. I'm having fun with this. Anything I want goes on the feed. That's just the way it is.
But that's the thing is with the feed, I don't think people, even when you get a bit of money out of it, it's not enough for the trouble it's worth to do it. It's more so to get people to know what you do
and what you think.
Maybe hire you to do an audio book or do a particular job that will pay you something. But it's a lot like a lot of these things. I've been into the equestrian scene for years, so I ride a horse and that, and a lot of the time, there's a lot of the people I know who high into the riding, do top level riding, win a lot of prizes. The top ones in the country make next to nothing, and that's, as I said, it's the same as a lot of these podcasting, but they can command a lot of price when they sell a horse because they've got a name and reputation because they're out there doing it.
Right.
And it's the same thing there. And then if somebody says, can you teach me to do this? Well, that's where they get their money from. But they're not getting it from where people know them from. But you've got to be out there to show that you can do the job. And that's where I think it's been great with the way the internet's gone, is because there's a lot of people like us who can put our work out there, which we would have never done before, because you would have had to spend thousands of dollars of time investment to get a studio to put something together. And for the return, you say, well, I'm never going to get anything out. I'm not going to waste that sort of money. But now you can get even if you want a good microphone, under $100. And as I said, that's doing but you can get as I said, a $50 one and still do a damn good job and get a camera for $200.
Right.
And away you go. You've got your thing in there. And once you get a bit better, if you do get a few jobs, you can buy more equipment. And there was a saying somebody said, I can't remember exactly how it went, but it says, yes, you work to buy good equipment. You don't buy good equipment to work.
Yeah.
So they said, get it that way around.
And whenever you first get started, you're putting everything you got back into it. And again, I have a living from my job. And again, I'm getting closer to retirement. And so I have a living from that, and I will have a retirement from that. And while it would be nice to make some money, here and there, I enjoy the process. I enjoy the audio. I enjoy writing and then putting an audio of what I'm going to do, anything that goes out, anything that's audio, or if I just make a blog post for my site, I will record the audio and release that on the feed as well. And so it's going to be audio and writing. So my writing that I've always enjoyed doing will be out there just like a blog post. any voiceover type of stuff I do that I have permission to actually put out there will be out there. Like I'll put an excerpt of the audio book that I just completed. I'll put that on there, as a little mini episode. And of course, weekly, the Jeff and Jeffrey weekly catch up will be showing up on that channel.
Sorry, my ear is just itching me something shocking. Oh, yeah. Oh,
no, that's all right.
Only because you can't, shouldn't be doing it. But you see, the thing is, though, like you were saying, with that, you get it heading towards retirement, like we both are. Mm-hmm. It's still quite a ways to go, but still much closer than the younger ones. But I'm looking forward to trying to do something like that. And it's the sort of thing, it doesn't matter how old you are, they still need the different sounds of voices. And it's something you could do. And if you've got, when you are retired, you've got a bit more time on your hands, so you could really devote yourself. Now, William, stop snoring. Can you hear him in the background?
I heard a or two. Yeah.
William, wake up. I've just woken him up because that's okay. He's just going to turn around and start snoring. No, okay. He's hasn't squashed his nose into the pillow this time. So, and if I leave him out, he'll start crying and knocking on the door. So I figure that's probably not the best way to leave him in.
I heard a couple of scratches at the door, but I just said no, and then the scratching went away. So pretty well behaved kitty. That's the used kitty we were talking about in the other that we got the shelter.
Right. The rescue kitty.
Yeah, the used kitty. Yeah.
Well, my sound installation hasn't fallen down yet, so it's stuck up there. So
I am looking for the time whenever we're sitting here and one falls down hit you in the head.
Yeah.
Well, my situation here is kind of interesting because this room, the wall you see where the skeleton is back there, the wall to his immediate right that way is actually 12 feet tall. And then the ceiling angles, of course, I've got some sound treatment on that wall. And then I've got the bass traps up in the corners. But then the ceiling slopes down that way. So it's not a direct up and down bounce. And so it seems to really keep me from having a lot of bounce off like I would off of a flat ceiling. There's more sound treatment I plan doing over in this direction. I've got a couple more bass traps and some other things. But
thing about the sound bouncing and that, when I put my sound treatment on the roof, the only thing what it did do that I didn't realize it was going to do, because it's black, the sound treatment.
Oh.
And what I used to do was bounce my LED light off the white ceiling, bounce that off.
And you forgot.
And now I can't because it just sucks into the black. So now I have to have it pointing more at me, and it's more blinding. But before I used to point it up to the ceiling and it just spread all around. So it used to do a better job, but I didn't realize that. And I thought, oh, of course it didn't. But then I've changed my light, my normal light, other than the camera type lights, to LED. So it's much brighter when I don't have my other lights on. So LED seems to make a big difference, but I can still keep seeing in your background color,
those things over there
changing when you moved. Yeah, so
that's the C920, and it's based on how much of that is showing in the actual picture it's getting, I guess. But it's just all automatic. You have as far as video goes, I'm really pretty new to this.
This is a C920. I'm seeing if mine does it. That's a C920 there.
Okay.
That's it. And then this one is a $2,000 camera.
Right.
So it should be better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your setup with your video and stuff. Video is something that's really pretty new to me. I've always been audio, but the C920 was suggested by podcasters, and they were all doing some video stuff and podcasters, and it's actually worked really well for just what I've been doing. And I do understand that you need good lighting in order for this thing to really be effective. And so I'm conscious of where my lighting is placed and everything. And I used to do a lot of photography, like I even shot some weddings back in the film days. And so I've been conscious of where light's coming in around my face and things like that. And the C920, again, will constantly shift. And if I just move a little bit, those things in the background change color on me. But yeah,
I have found, though, you've got to be careful with that with the C920, because if you it's more designed, like I said, it's a webcam, and it's designed for people who don't have much light.
Right.
So if you have decent, like if I put the decent light on, it's horrible because it goes too dark, because it says I can't handle, there's too much light. I'll darken it down if you've got sunlight. Whereas this camera, I can set it, into a particular thing, and it will do it perfectly. Whereas the C920, sometimes in the proper light, it's not so good on there. So even like with all these lights on, when you see that there, that's not. I've had to tweak the color on that because it comes out all blown out.
Yeah.
So I did fix the color on the camera itself in the settings, and change the white balance manually, and switched off the auto, because if I had the auto on, it just goes too funny. I don't know if I can simulate that happening on there. But if I go to my settings and see if I put the auto, where's I think on the white balance at the moment, that sort of.
There you go. You turned kind of blue there for a bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so and if you do, but then that's why I do that, because do the bright manually, because it usually comes up like this, washed out.
Oh wow!
When you leave all the auto on there, so I always. That's a contrast, but that's not a terrible color, that one.
They're kind of on fire or something, yeah.
I tend to put the brightness down a bit on that, and just do the white balance manually, because otherwise you can see this. It just clicks up really clicky. So I'll try and do that manually. Then that's not too bad. That's not too badish quality, that one.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of a where I'm not as, especially things I'm not technically savvy in, such as actual video and things like that. I have a tendency to do testing and then get something that works, and then use super glue on the knobs. That type of thing, this is working. I will not allow conditions to change. And then I just try to keep it that way. Now, I'm fortunate in that I have a permanent setup here. The camera is on a short tripod, and I just move it out of the way of the screen whenever I get done. But there's a light that is permanently set up here behind the monitor. I've got a lamp over here to this side. I've got the overhead room light going on over here. And so it seems not to be now. Right now, a reflection in my glasses, you can see the light up above the monitor, and you can see the, so I could worry, I could make sure that wasn't a problem if I was really worried about that part, but it's not. What I'm trying to do is to get a good. Yeah, there you go.
Take the glass up, but I can't see what I'm pressing, what buttons I'm pressing.
Well, I think I could still see. I'm having a little bit of trouble with these new earbuds, kind of trying to fall out of my ears here. But
that's what I like with these ones. They're really good. They don't fall. They're really designed nicely. But as I said, they were $99, but that seems expensive. But I'll just compare them to the $500 cousins of them in the same brand, and that made them look cheap.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Well, I just grabbed what was around here. These are actually my wife. She uses them for some things she does whenever I'm asleep, or if she's doing something with audio while I'm doing recording in my booth, or even this. If she hears me talking loud in here, then she knows I'm doing this or online. And so she does plug in and try to keep it quiet while I'm doing it, which I appreciate.
And like you were saying, with having the camera set up and all that, you leave it in place. Well, that's what the other week when I put the extra soundproofing in there, I thought, because sometimes I thought I can get in there without that. But, every time you do that, you have an accident, trip over your camera, knock your lights over, and smash everything.
Oh, yes, that is true, yeah.
So what I said, no, I'm going to just take everything out the room, move it all out, and I moved it all, the lights, the camera. But then, of course, I had to set everything up again, didn't I, to make sure it was all in the. But I thought, I know if I don't do that, every time you think that, you said, well, you knew you was going to have trouble, but you didn't do it. You was just trying to be lazy and say you didn't have to do that. And every time I think that, no, I'll take out, because I know I'm going to drop something, smash the camera.
Well, I need to put drapes on the windows that are sitting right here directly behind the monitor. And whenever I do that, I'm going to have to be up on a ladder, and I've got a table right here with everything sitting on, and if I'll be leaning over the table to do it. So I really hate
You know
to
the
take all
rule.
this down. I really hate to take all this down, or maybe, and even to scoot it out, because there's cords that are plugged in different places, different ways. The computer is sitting down under the table on a board on the floor, to keep it up out of the carpet, and so everything would have to be very take an hour to get everything moved out, and then you'd have to back in whenever you got done. Sound effects. Sorry.
But you do know that once you reach 50, you shouldn't be touching a ladder. I think that's a good rule.
Yeah. Well,
I don't mind a ladder if it's about 3 foot off the ground and with another handle on it. That's a step, and that's not a ladder to me. It's just a a little stool with a step thing on.
Let me show you. See right here. That's the ladder I'm going to be using. Yes. There it is. Scary. It belonged to my grandfather, so it probably shouldn't hurt me too bad. Well, I've got this thing up. Here's the actual sound treatment up here.
Oh, okay.
This was my daughter's room. I don't know if I can get that like that. This was my daughter's room. That's what those ants are up here for. We made her a jungle room. And so,
okay.
So those ants going along through there, that's what that's about. But anyway, that's another of my daughter's paintings. And there's one over there with that guy. So anyway,
see what mine does. Let's see what mine does. Okay, let's see if we can have well, we've got live cam there. See, and that's my sound. That's my audio call.
Yeah, you're all covered up then.
See, so that's a real good. So so that's the road in the corner there.
Do you have any sound treatment on your actual stand right there? Oh, there you go.
That's sort of the roofy bit, but that's all. But the walls is nice and straight and neat.
Uh-huh.
On the top, it's not, because I couldn't see properly.
It's all. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. It doesn't really matter. Like you say, it's
and then there's on the door, but there is on the green screen. There's behind this wall, but there's sound treatment on behind the green screen because there's windows there. Behind there, but the sound treatment on the back there as well. So
if I was using a condenser in this room, I would have much more coverage than what I do. But this seems to do well, and then I'm going to be doing some other things on the other side of the room. And when
I'm in that corner, it does really nice, because I've done that up just that bit up at the top corner, so where I stand.
Yes,
in there, it does a really good job.
So you don't get any reflections off of your stand without any kind of a. Because the stand is just open. Like if you just put a towel over it or something like that, sometimes that'll.
No, don't get you because the microphone's higher than the stand.
Right, you're talking across the top of the stand instead of bouncing back into it.
Yeah, and also the way I've got that set up, I usually talk to the stand, but the microphone's at the side, so it's talking into that. But I don't know if you saw on that, but what I did have, I had a computer years ago that had Microsoft Word with it, with the discs and everything that came with it. That's still all sealed in the packet. That's the Microsoft Word thing with the discs. And everything. That's on there to support my iPad, because the music stand doesn't go up high enough. Because music stand's not meant for people to be standing up and reading at eye level. You're supposed to be looking down at it.
Yeah.
But if you look down at it, you're talking down. You've got to be talking like that. So you want it at eye level. So I'll do my iPad on that to raise it up. So then I'm talking into the foam. I'm not talking into the stand.
I have a couple of foam pieces that I ended up with whenever I bought monitor speakers, and you're supposed to put them under the speakers in order to, pad them and isolate them from the solid surface. Well, I use those in there, but they're sitting on top on my little table. They're sitting on top of a book that's about so thick. And then I've got the thing, I've got that, and then the foam pad, and that's what my tablet that has the keyboard attached to it sits on. And then I'm just looking at it, and the microphone is in a very similar situation to what you have yours. It's above it. So I'm talking above it, and I can even adjust the front to the back of the thing to make sure it doesn't bounce up into it. I've kind of got it this way that I can see it, and all I have to do is just take my thumb and scroll, as I'm talking.
And that's what,
as I'm talking, it's a short enough screen to where I'm scrolling and I'm looking exactly the same instead of going as I do. Changes the same.
Because you do, and I try to do that. So you can. I've got on the iPad. There's Teleprompt Pro. Have you used that? the Teleprompt Pro on the iPad, and that's what I use. And what that does is I can put it in because I've actually got a teleprompter thing I can put on the camera there, and I can control it with my iPhone, so I can speak directly into the camera and read what you want to do. But I also use that because it mirrors on the iPad, but you can do it normally, so you can use that for and it points to, so you can scroll the words at a particular speed, and it's quite good because if you're doing a chapter, when you start at that particular speed, it gives you a rough idea. Well, this is going to take you 20 minutes or 10 minutes. And you can see how far you are. So it gives you a bit of an encouragement of what to do. But
that's cool.
Sometimes, no matter how slow it goes, you think, oh, no, it's getting a bit too fast. You have to speed up your speaking. And then when you get it too slow and you think, oh, I'm running out of words. I'm already, it's getting to the bottom of that. And you think, so you've got to, what I do now, I don't have the auto prompting. What I have, this is a pen, but it does. I have one of the, the ones with the rubbery things on for the stylus. That's what it's called. And so what I do, so I have it and just do it as I need it.
Oh, okay.
So with the stylus, but because you can have and it's just a normal text file. You can put anything into there, but it's really good. So you don't have your computer in front of you. You've just got your iPad. So they're always easy to have. So.
Well, I keep the computer completely separate from the recording process. I've got the Zoom H5 in there. It's got phantom power for condensers. You can do some high quality, actual recordings that way, as good or better than you can do on a computer. But then I have that tablet, which is an Asus tablet. I believe it's how you pronounce it. And then I just have it on the screen. Since it has the keyboard on it, it opens up like that. And I just put my thumb against the screen since it's a touch screen. And then I read and I'm not getting any kind of a squeak or anything out of it. I mean, I've learned to do it to where, and so I just scroll it as I need it. And I'm using WordPad. I mean, it's not, it's just, a Windows 10 tablet. And I'm using WordPad, and I can make it as big. I can just go on the screen, make it as big and slow as I want it. Make the text as big as I want it, and scroll it up as I go. And it's really been working fine.
And that's exactly what I use. This the same sort of thing. It's just basic text, and you don't have any problem with formatting because you don't want that. That gets into the way of things. You just want plain basic text, readable. And I try to have it not too big, because if you have it too big, it's hard to read.
Right.
You've got to have it small enough that makes you read, that you've got enough to read. Where sometimes if it's too big, I don't know why, it's just not that easy to do when the words are too big.
Well, I also do it without my glasses on because I am nearsighted. And what's funny is things about right here start getting blurry. And I'll take my glasses off, it's in focus again. All the way up to here. And so I take my glasses off and just read, and it's a whole lot better that way to do it without my glasses. And so I can only, long-term stuff kind of hurts because after a while I will get a headache from reading without my glasses for an extended period of time.
Well, I'm pretty similar. Like as I said, when I get close, I can't see them. But if like road signs and things up there, I can read the wording on the book without my glasses on, but I'll struggle to have with my glasses on there. Right. Like I can read on the book over there now without the glasses, but with them, it gets a little bit blurry with that. So,
well, I asked the last time if I should get bifocals, and the guy said, "Oh, that's just too much trouble. Just take off your glasses to read." And then right after that, I got a job where I was reading close addresses at work. So now it's been somebody told me the other day it was charming that they see me looking under my glasses and over my glasses reading addresses all the time.
Well, I found with these glasses are the first ones I've had for years that I can leave on for they seem to do the best jobs, because other ones usually, if I left them on, I can't see it all in the distance. But these ones I can still do. They're really good and really good close up. So the first ones I've been able to use them pretty much all the time. So because I had another pair before that and they were hopeless, and they made me go a bit dizzy every time I used to wear them. And when I went to the optometrist, and I said, they're terrible. They said, no wonder the person who's done this has done this. You wonder you're not going cross-eyed. I said, oh, well, no wonder. I said, thanks very much for saying that. And he said, no, this should suit you. I said, well, Oh God, no wonder they put this thing in to correct this. Oh, this will make it better, but it made it worse. So I thought every time I kept going, when you kept thinking things are close to you when they're not, and you kept jumping because you keep seeing things out the corner of your eye. That's how it was, and after about an hour, I was starting to get a bit of a headache. So that was a waste of about $400 for those. And so I went back to my old glasses that I'd had for 4 years previous, and just stuck with another 2 years with them until then. I was scared to go back to get another set because I thought, oh, this is going to be just as bad again. But the funny thing was the ones that I'd had for about 6 years, when I got these, the optometrist who said the one who'd done the wrong one before, he was the one who'd made the ones before that I'd had for the last 6 years. So I said, I've got a bit of confidence in you because you got the last. He said, I did your ones. I said, oh, good, because they're still in my case. They're still good. And he said, well, your eyes haven't changed at all. You can have the same prescription. He said, they've changed it on the other one. He said, but they've never changed. So anyway.
That's the way mine is. Mine were slowly getting worse as I got older. And then all of a sudden, somewhere in the vicinity of about 40 years old, they just never changed anymore. And so we got this deal on ours that you could get a second pair for free. And so my wife and I were both getting glasses at the same time. I got another pair identical to this one, and she got two different fashion pairs, and she couldn't understand why I got two identical pairs of glasses. And I said, my prescription hasn't been changing, and I'll just wear those until the frame breaks, and then I'll just get the other pair, and I'll just keep wearing those, and not have to worry about the other. They're just packed away, and I haven't needed them. I think once something happened, and I had to wear the other pair for a couple of days, but then, I just got it organized, and that was the end of that. And so I've been wearing these ever since, and I'm just waiting. When these break, I'll wear the other ones.
Well, my eyes, though, I think it was 47. I never wore glasses before 47.
Oh, wow.
And when I was 47, and then all of a sudden I was just at a restaurant and trying to look at the menu. Can't read this. And I thought it was down, dim light. I thought I was not very good in the restaurant there. And then it just went as quick as that.
Yeah.
And I thought, I can't read. This is hard to read. And we got to work. I said, God, that computer screen's quite fuzzy. I can't really focus on that. And it just went that quickly.
Wow.
And just, all of a sudden just went like that. But I suppose I had 47 years of not having glasses, but as I said, never bothered me before. I used to have, say, some glasses to ease the pressure when you're just looking at the computer day in, day out, but they were just more so to get rid of the reflection, and I didn't wear them a lot. But I think it's maybe with age, but as things you get, back then we weren't looking at computers as much, even though you will look at them during work. What do you do when you go home? You look at the computer. Whereas if 10 years ago you came home and didn't look at there, you might watch TV, but you were sat about 10 feet back from that. Whereas now we go home from looking at a computer for 8 hours, and we spend another 6 hours looking at the computer again.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sure that doesn't do our eyes too good. So it'd be good. I want to be able to use a computer 6 or 7 hours after work with my eyes shut. But it just doesn't work. It's just not the same.
Now, one of these days, I'll get one of them glass things. You can do that, and it'll just be in your head. Maybe they'll just plug us in. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But if you're going to do that, I'll just put glasses on. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't think I want something plugged in. Yeah.
A Borg type implant. Just the Borg. I reckon that's where Google got their idea from. Google Glass watching Star Trek.
Yes.
And the Borg.
Well, that's the whole idea of where the original cell phones came from. Was the Star Trek communicator, the guy that invented the cell phone? It was the communicator on Star Trek. That was the actual inspiration for it.
Oh, yeah, because they were always the thing. I remember the kid, because with the late 60s, with the flick out the communicator, and the normal, and then the transporter. That was always. They haven't developed that yet. I'm waiting for somebody to destroy matter and reintegrate it somewhere else.
Yeah, reintegrating it is the problem. Because
Plenty of destroying going on.
yeah, that's happening right now. That's happening all the time. But the problem with the transporter would be once you digitize something and then you attempt to reconstitute it, I think it would be more like powdered milk. I don't think you would get everything back. It wouldn't taste quite as good. I mean,
but then again, can you imagine if somebody said 10 years ago you could have a printer that would print actual things?
like 3D, yeah.
3D. I just still couldn't understand that for ages. What do they mean? And as I said, imagine what there'd be in another 10 years. And you think,
oh, yeah, it's rolling fast. It's rolling faster and faster. The older we get, the faster it's rolling, But I just wonder, there are so many things about humans that I just don't know how you could translate those over, because, if a person does believe in a soul or even the personality or whatever, that you might be able to duplicate the physical, but the actual essence of that person, it seems like to me that they'd be a zombie whenever they reconstitute it on the other side.
Well, that would put a new adage to the word "leave your troubles behind."
Yeah. Well, I mean,
all your brain, leave
it all back there.
It's just you there, but all your soul and that's gone back there. But I agree with you. There's much more to a person than just the body, the case that they're in, isn't?
Well,
how would you do that? So.
Well, then people worry about people having their DNA or something to where they could actually clone them or something. Well, there was an episode I watched one time on one of them. There's several different series on Star Trek, and what they did was people got their DNA or whatever all mixed up, or some type of disease or something they had contracted, and it was just irreparable. And what they did was ran them into the transporter and then reconstituted them in a pattern that had happened before they were exposed to what the problem was.
Oh, okay.
And then so that opens up the whole idea. Well, you're talking about perpetual youth. You could constantly put yourself in it. Now, you wouldn't ever learn anything beyond that point, because whatever you knew at that point would be part of what you reconstituted with. Yeah. And so, you could be, 30 years old for the rest of your life if you didn't ever want to learn anything else.
I always remember as a kid, remember the Mad comics, and there was always the Mad comics with Spock saying, "I think something's gone wrong, Captain." So why do you say that, Spock? And he's got a hand sticking out of his ear, and his foot's coming out of it.
I remember that one. I totally remember that one. Star Black was what they called him.
Yeah, Oh, but I remembered that one, and I thought,
I totally remember seeing that. I mean, I was barely in my teens when I saw that. That was so fun. Yeah. I remember that. I'll never forget that hand sticking out of his ear.
Yes.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah.
They did some good things back then, didn't they? The Mad comics.
Yeah, I didn't get to see a whole lot of it, but just ever so often I would come across one, and it was like. But I totally remember that one. That was hilarious.
And I'd already forgot that they used to also have a record on the back of the cover with funny songs on it that you peel off the back cover and put it on your record, but you had to put a quarter on it, or your quarter on each corner, to hold it down, because it would just flap off, because it was like light paper, but it would play on there.
So. They had those you could cut off the back of a cereal box sometimes too. But they were usually so scratched after being slid down into large cartons of all these boxes of cereal. They were so scratched that they would skip quite a bit, But of course, that was phonograph records. So, and then one time we ended up with a square record from somewhere.
Yes, I'd had one of them. Yeah, because it's still round when they do it, but it's square when it goes round. It goes right on the plate, but it just looked really weird, didn't it? So.
Yeah, it looks really, really funny. Did you have a pick this week that you were going to do?
No, I didn't, because I've been looking at all sorts of things. I've been actually playing more around with the with Final Cut, doing all the back shows, because when I put all those titles on for me and you, that takes about an hour to render, because it's got do all those graphics for an hour show.
Okay.
Up top and bottom, 2 ones. So I had to do that. And then also what I thought I'll be a smarty pants. There's this thing on Final Cut. There's another add-on called Compressor, which you go into the file, say, send it to Compressor. And what Compressor does, you say, where do you want it to go to? And I'll make all them copies for you.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, yeah, that's great. But that takes about 4 hours each episode because it hasn't got the thing open. But it's supposed to be, set it and forget it. Oh. But I was too lazy, so I went back to Final Cut and just did one by one. Okay. It was more tedious, but it was much quicker. Mm-hmm. Whereas because what Compressor does, you can get an episode of this and say if you wanted it in 3 different formats.
Oh, okay, I see.
Drop the 3 different formats, and then you say, I want 3 copies at this size, 2 at this, and then I want it on Vimeo and YouTube. So you put all that in, so it'll do it all for you.
Oh, it just uploads it for you then.
It does everything, but it'll just take forever to do it. But it's quite good, and then you can have your special presets of what settings you want to have for different formats. Mm-hmm. I thought that would be good to use, but I thought, well, I'll just put that. I wanted to get them all there so we could have all the shows up there and ready to show people. Mm-hmm. But I've been, probably playing a bit more with Final Cut this week doing that. But I really do enjoy that, adding a little bit extra to it. Mm-hmm. I might even do, like on this camera with Final Cut, it really comes out good recording directly from the camera. This is a 1080p camera. It's not a 4K camera, but I mean, it's more than adequate. It really is a good quality camera. Mm-hmm. But my pick this week would probably be just saying the great work that Final Cut Pro do. And it's quite a powerful package, and as I said, I've only touched the surface of what I use it for, but it's just such a good package on there, and just so I like using Premiere Pro as well, but I tend to chop and change between the 2 packages.
What I've been using, again, just for audio, for instance, whenever I got the video from you. What I did was just immediately import the videos into SoundForge. It's a Sony. It's a Sony SoundForge, and then while you can't do like video editing with it, there's just this click button where you just say detach video. And what I needed was just an audio of it without the video, and I just loaded it in, detach, and then I saved it as a WAV file. Each one, and then I just did all 4 of them that way, and then I had audio. And what's good is when you got done with your work, the audio levels and everything are just perfect. I mean, for what I would normally send out for a podcast, but without having to work it. I mean, it's what you gave me was just, I guess broadcast standard or whatever they're trying to set standards for, how loud things need to be and stuff like that. And it's just right there, right? The way I would send it out is just right there. And I was totally impressed with the audio.
Well, always try and look at when I'm doing the audio, because I'll make sure it's not peaking too much. And even when I was having a test last night with doing the show, the opening and closing credits were a bit loud on the recording testing I was doing. So I thought I was trying to tweak that, and I've created a whole new setting in Wirecast just for our show. So
now number 5 did seem to be a little hot on the front end up there, but again, I haven't done the editing on that one yet. What I'm going to be doing is releasing these a few weeks behind you. So for instance, if I can get everything lined up and get the feed switched over and everything like that, I have to release a thing telling everybody what I'm doing with the feed. And then I'm going to put one of those out, either the end of this week or next week will be the first one. And then I'll be 3 or 4 weeks, or so behind what's happening. And then you'll already have the video on there. And then once it publishes to my website, then I will just embed the video on that post from your site.
Yeah, doubling up on putting it on your.
It'll be a single, a single post on my website, but at the same time, the audio and the video things will both be there where they can click and do either one of them. And of course, the Libsyn account, Liberated Syndication, their account, the way it's set up, it publishes, as soon as it publishes the audio and the show notes that go with it, that tells what the show is about and things like that, it sends out a tweet. It sends out I mean, all this is schedulable, and it sends out a tweet. It sends the actual player to Facebook for the audio. And then it sends it to Tumblr. It sends it to a blogger site that I have. And so it's just this big broadcast thing. So instead of going to my own site and making a post, and then going to Tumblr and making a post, and going to Blogger and making a post, and going to tweeting and then Facebooking, and I just do that one thing and I schedule it. And if I want it to go out at 8 o'clock in the morning, then I can be asleep. And it just all broadcasts where it's supposed to be based on when I scheduled it to go. And then all I have to do manually is to pop in and embed your video from your YouTube account on that same post, and it's all there for people to have whenever they want it. You know, and then it'll be embedded on my site, but it won't be embedded everywhere else it went. It'll just be right there on my site, to where, and I'll tell people, hey, if you want to know, see what we look like, then hey, come on over here, and and you can watch the videos.
Have a look.
Yeah. So if we can kind of piggyback off of that feed that's been there for 2 years already, and people are still interested in, and then maybe we can, people will come and listen to us there, and then maybe they'll start coming and maybe watching on the YouTube channel too. So, it's just a slow build, and I haven't done anything with it for about 8 months. So I'm just going to convert it over and start putting stuff in there and see what happens.
Yeah, well, that's what I like doing this, because I thought doing this you have something more to put on your sites. Sure. And that. So like I'll put it on the YouTube site, which is, as I said, it's always good to have something else going on there. And so I'll try and get a few more videos on my YouTube site as well, and do, say, like I said, a few more reviews. I do actually like this setup, because it does, when I do record on the camera, it does do such a really nice quality through Wirecast. And so when we've gone here, I might record a new intro for the show for this week. And just say, as we did before, and just put that on the front as well.
Sure. Oh, by the way, I forgot. We'll be in iTunes and on Spotify.
Sorry?
We'll be in iTunes and Spotify and TuneIn.
Good.
And Libsyn's already set up to once I get approved, which I haven't tried to do because I haven't been on the feed, we'll also be on Google Play Music as well, because they're just now starting up podcasting. So I mean, and that's just me posting on the Libsyn site. It goes everywhere. And
so we're probably about time to wrap up then. Show number 6. Yeah, number six. And I really appreciate it. I know we had a hard time getting in, but hey, once we got started, we got started. We got there. So I'm always a bit scared, as I said last time. I'm not going to pause the recording. I'm just going to say, we'll say hello. Well, bye for now, and that's the end of the show.
Sounds good.